All right, so get ready because we're going to take a deep dive today
Yeah.
into a movie that might just unlock a few core memories for you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're taking a look at 8-Bit Christmas,
Oh, very cool.
which follows young Jake Doyle on his quest for the ultimate 80s Christmas gift,
Okay.
a Nintendo Entertainment System.
The NES.
You're probably thinking about some like treasured childhood item of your own right now.
Absolutely. I think everyone has that one thing
It was for sure.
the one that got away, or the
Yeah.
one that you wished and hoped for.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting about this movie, though, is that it goes beyond just being a nostalgic trip.
Okay.
Down memory lane, it's being hailed as like a Christmas story for a new generation,
Okay.
blending humor and heart and like a surprising amount of depth.
Let's unpack that comparison a little bit because A Christmas Story is a classic.
For sure.
And it really nailed the feel of a particular time period.
Yeah.
Does 8-Bit Christmas do the same thing for the 80s?
It absolutely does. Think about the scene where Jake is trying to convince his parents that the NES is educational.
Oh, yeah.
It plays on that classic parental skepticism about video games.
Right.
But with a wink to the audience who remembers those exact conversations.
That's true. It's funny because it's relatable.
Exactly.
But you mentioned depth.
Uh-huh.
What makes this film more than just a funny holiday movie?
Well, take Neil Patrick Harris as the narrator playing the grown-up Jake.
Oh, okay.
He's not just telling the story.
Right.
His perspective as an adult adds a layer of reflection on how childhood dreams and family relationships
Okay.
evolve over time.
So we're seeing the story through both young Jake's eyes and adult Jake's.
That's clever.
Like two sides of the same coin.
Does that mean there's kind of a bittersweet element to the film, too?
Think about it. Jake's so focused on getting this one thing, the NES,
Yeah.
that he almost misses the bigger picture.
Right.
The movie gently reminds us that the things we crave as kids might not hold the same importance later on. Yeah, that's a really good point. It makes me think about my own ultimate gift as a kid.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, it wasn't even the getting it that mattered most.
Right.
It was the whole anticipation and build-up.
The lead up, yeah.
Is that something that the film captures well?
Absolutely. The film really nails the anticipation leading up to Christmas morning.
Okay.
Remember the mall contest scene where Jake's competing against 10 other kids for the last NES?
Oh, yeah.
You can practically feel the tension and excitement.
Radiating through the screen.
Yeah, through the screen.
Oh, man, that scene is intense. The desperation in those kids' eyes.
Oh, yeah.
It's palpable. Speaking of which, the movie is packed with those classic 80s movie tropes.
Right.
We got the over-the-top bully Timmy Keene.
Yes, and while Timmy Keene might seem like kind of a stock character,
Right.
the film gives him just enough depth to make him more than a caricature.
Okay.
It's like a nod to those classic 80s films without being cliche.
And then there's Jake's dad with his hilarious obsession with that giant inflatable Santa. Who comes up with that as their favorite Christmas decoration?
Right. It's details like that that give the movie its unique charm.
Yeah.
It doesn't just recreate the look of the 80s, it captures the spirit of the time,
Okay.
both the good and the slightly ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like those quirky little details are invitations for you to rewatch the movie
Yeah.
and catch things you missed the first time.
Exactly. And each rewatch might reveal something different about the characters or their relationships as you connect the dots from childhood to adulthood. For example, the scene where young Jake thinks his dad just doesn't get it,
Uh-huh.
that he doesn't understand the allure of the NES.
Yeah.
But later on, through adult Jake's narration,
Right.
we see a flashback to the dad's own childhood Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And it flips the whole dynamic.
You're talking about that moment where we realize Jake's dad had longed for a specific toy, too.
Exactly.
But never got it.
Uh-huh.
It really humanizes him.
Yeah.
Shows that he's not just being a grumpy dad.
Right.
He's carrying his own childhood baggage.
Yeah, precisely. And that scene beautifully illustrates the film's ability to bridge those generational gaps.
Okay.
It encourages us to look beyond our own immediate desires
Yeah.
and recognize that our parents, too,
Right.
had hopes and dreams that shaped who they are.
Yeah, it's almost like a reminder to have a little more empathy for our parents.
Yeah.
Especially during the holidays when those family dynamics can get a little intense.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's not all serious introspection in the movie, is it?
No.
There's still a lot of pure 80s fun in there.
Of course, the film strikes a wonderful balance between nostalgia and genuine heart.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the scene where Jake and his friends are huddled in his basement playing Atari.
Yeah.
It's a simple moment,
Uh-huh.
but it captures the pure joy of childhood friendship
Right.
and those shared experiences that bond us.
That scene really resonated with me.
Yeah.
It reminded me of countless hours spent with my own friends
Yeah.
playing video games, just hanging out.
Yeah.
There's something magical about that pre-internet era.
That sense of community and connection that felt so tangible.
It's a reminder that some things never really change.
Right.
The technology might evolve,
Yeah.
but that basic human need for connection and belonging remains constant.
Right.
And 8-Bit Christmas beautifully captures that
Okay.
through those seemingly simple but ultimately profound moments.
But let's not forget, this is a Christmas movie.
Right.
And holiday movies often have a predictable, feel-good formula.
Yeah.
Does 8-Bit Christmas fall into that trap?
Actually, one of the things that sets this film apart is its ending.
Okay.
It's not your typical sugar-coated happily ever after,
Right.
without giving too much away.
Yeah.
It's more nuanced,
Okay.
more reflective of the bittersweet realities of life.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not afraid to tug at the heartstrings a bit.
It does a little bit, yeah.
I'm actually really intrigued now to see how they pull that off.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're aiming for something more than just making you feel warm and fuzzy. Exactly, and that's what makes it so effective. It doesn't shy away from the fact that sometimes things don't go exactly as planned,
Right.
but it reminds us that even in those disappointments,
Yeah.
there are valuable lessons to be learned
Okay.
and unexpected joys to be discovered.
I like that. It's a more mature message than you typically find in holiday films.
Yeah.
And speaking of gifts, did the movie make you rethink what it means to receive a truly special gift?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's that coveted NES
Right.
or something entirely different?
Absolutely. 8-Bit Christmas reminds us that the most valuable gifts aren't always material possessions.
Okay.
It's the memories we make, the relationships we cherish,
Right.
and the experiences that shape who we are.
Right.
These are the gifts that truly endure.
And it's not just about the receiving either.
Right.
The movie also explores the act of giving
Uh-huh.
and how sometimes the most meaningful gifts are the ones that require sacrifice
Yeah.
or demonstrate a deep understanding of someone else.
That's a great observation. There's a powerful scene where Jake's dad, that's a great observation. There's a powerful scene where Jake's dad, despite his initial skepticism about the NES, goes to extraordinary lengths to try and secure one for Jake.
Oh, wow.
It's a beautiful example of how parental love often manifests in unexpected ways.
Yeah, it's that kind of selfless gesture that really elevates the film beyond just a typical holiday comedy.
Right.
It reminds us that our parents, even when they're driving us crazy,
Yeah.
are usually acting out of love, even if we don't always understand it at the time.
Especially at the time.
But it also makes you wonder how kids today,
Yeah.
growing up in a world of instant gratification and digital everything,
Mm-hmm.
will look back on their own childhoods. Will they have those same tangible touchstones of memory,
Right.
those specific objects that evoke a flood of emotions?
That's a fascinating question to ponder. What will be the NES for future generations?
Right.
Will it be a virtual reality headset?
Okay.
A piece of viral internet culture? Or something we can't even imagine yet?
It really makes you think about the ephemeral nature of nostalgia.
Yeah.
What seems groundbreaking and essential in one era
Right.
can become a quaint relic in another.
And yet certain themes remain timeless. The desire for connection, the yearning for something special, the ups and downs of family relationships. These are the threads that weave through human experience regardless of the decade.
Right.
And 8-Bit Christmas taps into those universal truths
Okay.
in a way that resonates with audiences of all ages.
Right. And speaking of those universal truths, remember that scene where Jake's dad reveals his most prized Christmas decoration is a giant inflatable Santa?
Oh, yeah.
It's so absurd.
Yes.
But it also speaks to the childlike wonder that still resides within us no matter how old we get.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that the holidays are a time to embrace the silly, the sentimental, and the unexpected.
Yeah.
And that sometimes the most cherished traditions are the ones that make us laugh and shake our heads in amusement.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into 8-Bit Christmas, it's clear this movie is much more than just a nostalgic trip back to the 80s.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a heartwarming and surprisingly insightful exploration of family childhood and the enduring power of shared experiences.
And it prompts us to reflect on our own holiday memories.
Right.
The gifts we've received, the gifts we've given, and the moments that have shaped who we are.
Ultimately, 8-Bit Christmas reminds us that the true magic of the holidays lies not in the material gifts, but in the connections we forge,
Right.
the memories we create with the people we love.
Beautifully said.
And for all of you listening, we'd love to hear your own holiday memories. What was your ultimate gift as a kid? What traditions do you cherish the most? Share your stories with us, and let's keep this conversation going. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.